Hi guys, welcome back to Dev Astrology. Now I am coming up with a video which is going to be talking about Jupiter coming closest to the Earth, which means Jupiter is getting into its deepest retrogression. And guys, this major event is happening on January 10th, 2026. This is going to be a period where you are going to notice something spectacular in the night sky. And this is going to be a phenomenal period because it can send divine ripples, energy into your life as well. Well, in the course of this video, I'm going to give you a perspective both from an astronomical as well as astrological perspective. Because what you guys are going to notice during this period, that on the eastern side, from wherever you are residing, from the eastern side of your house, wherever you live, you will be able to notice a very bright night star. But you have to understand, this is not a bright star. This is glowing Jupiter, Brihaspati, which is going to be visible to your naked eye as well. Especially around January 10th, couple of days before and after, and that is where I wanted to time this particular video's release as well for your better understanding. Now guys, you have to understand that Jupiter is closest to the Earth when it is in a straight line from Sun, Earth being in the center, and then Jupiter right 180 degrees opposite to the Sun at that point in time. And during this phase, you will realize that the distance between Earth and Jupiter is going to be at its minimal, which is this is the time of the period where you will find the lowest gap between these two planets. The second bit which is going to come into picture is you will find a natural illumination coming into the planet. In fact, if some of you are fond of watching stargazing using telescopes, or I've seen a lot of people are using a lot of mobile applications, Android, iOS based, which provide you the ability to check your night sky, the position and the shift of the planets into various, signs, zodiacs as well. In fact, I recently got introduced to one in the last month itself. And those applications, those equipments, that telescope can also give you a visibility where you can see that how illuminated would Jupiter be during this period, almost like full moon glowing in bright in the night sky. And the last bit is that this is going to be a phenomena which is going to be observed only after sunset and all the way up to sunrise. So of course, it has to be on the eastern side when sun has set into the west direction. Now let's try and decode this astronomical phenomenon from an Vedic astrology perspective as well. And you've got to understand this is the time where Jupiter is getting into its deepest retrogression. See, I'm still not out of that Saturn retrograde bit. It has given deep challenges to me personally. But Jupiter will be in its deepest retrograde position in this placement, and that means that the Cheshta bal of this planet will be at its peak, will be at the highest. This is going to be a period where you will realize that your motion in strength is going to be victorious, or it can bring in certain new levels of learning as well that you'll have to imbibe in yourself. It's a period which is going to bring overwhelming amount of high voltage divine intervention in your life. And how will this be impacting all the zodiac signs from Aries to Pisces is what we are going to decipher in this video. Now guys, I called out that there are 3 zodiac signs which are going to, of course, be having a wonderful gala time, but I'm going to be capturing the details for all 12 signs. The important bit for you to note is that you should watch both your Lagna, which is your ascendant sign, as well as moon sign to get a more comprehensive analysis as to what this could mean for you. So without further ado, let's decode this analysis. Now, folks, it's important, it's very crucial for us to decode what is the general vibe of this shift. See, what is Jupiter? It is a guru, a mentor, guide, source of knowledge and information. The right decision making, abundance, prosperity, for that matter. It denotes spirituality, religion, doing good for others, donation, charity. And when a planet like Jupiter is transiting into its deepest retrograde in an Aries sign like Gemini, the sign of its disciple, the sign that denotes communication, that denotes articulation, that denotes your external information or mass communication as well. It could, to a certain extent, also denote social media and networks for that matter. But it does carry its Mercurian aspects of decision making too. And therefore, when Jupiter is coming closest to the Earth in its deepest retrogression, it is going to be a time where you have to internalize wisdom within yourself. It's a time where you are going to make reviews and you will be rewarded. Jupiter in this placement is going to be at its deepest point of retrogression, guys. And what it is indicating is three key areas. Number one, if you've been struggling with some issues, if you've been dealing with some kind of obstacles, problems coming in your life, this could be a period of finding some sudden solutions. You might get an insight and information, introspection, a retrospection of what you've already done, introspection of your own strengths. All of those elements will result into you decoding a method, a solution that can help you the problems that have plagued you for a while. Number two, this is going to be a period potentially for some of you where some sort of past call, some sort of past contact connection is going to reappear in the form of an opportunity in your life. And you've got to weigh that option quite carefully before moving ahead. And that is where my earlier point of decision making is going to come into picture. And third, last but not the least, this is going to be about a piece of information as well. Something that has been there, but it has been missing. It has been skipping your naked eye. It is something that you will have to reevaluate. I keep telling folks who come to my consultations as well, people who've been struggling with retrograde planets in their charts, as to how repeat works. And this is the repetitive situation that Jupiter is going to be putting all of us in some shape or form. And therefore, I would want to call out the thoroughness with which you review is going to be dictating the reward that you are going to be getting out of this period as well. And therefore, it is going to be crucial for you to understand what sort of blessings the universe has chosen for you. Guys, I'm not one of those guys who believes completely on destiny, fate, like many astrologers out there. I strongly believe in free will. And that is where I keep emphasizing on the fact that Jupiter's presence into a sign of Mercury, which talks about evaluation, information, and it is the third house from a Kal Purush chart perspective, which is your own willpower and courage. So all of that with some information is going to be coming into picture. So let's understand first and foremost that what are those three miracle signs which are going to be impacted by this shift of Jupiter during this period. Now, in the list of the three miracle signs, the first one happens to be Gemini. In fact, it's the turn of all three Aries signs which are going to see some fruitful outcomes coming for them. To begin with, Gemini is going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this event. It is exactly where Jupiter is placed in its retrograde position at this point in time. And that means Jupiter is placed in your first house. Now, this is called Hamsa Yoga, which is coming in transit for you folks, where the Cheshta Bal of this planet is at its peak. And Geminis, you will have to understand, you will sort of feel that the blessings, the benediction of the Supreme is sort of sitting on your head. There is going to be some sort of an inching effect that you will start feeling, sensing from Jan 10th onwards, a couple of days before and after, but quite possibly from Jan 10th itself. You've got to understand, whilst this is the closest to the Earth position of Jupiter, but since it is in your first house, it's about transformation of your identity itself. This is a period where you will feel a sudden surge of optimism and protection from the divine coming into picture. If you've been suffering from any kind of health issues, from any kind of mental trauma, for lack of confidence for that matter, this is going to be the time where you will see clarity. The fog is going to disappear during this period itself. The key event that you might want to watch out is that there could be some sort of massive opportunity that might come into picture that elevates your status. It could be with respect to your spouse, your career, your kids, or blessings in an unexpected fashion coming in your life. The other bit that you will have to see is that I anticipate some of you could be eyeing for new job opportunities, promotion, career shift, or public recognition of sorts that might also materialize during this phase itself. And this is continuing all the way till March 11th, post which Jupiter becomes direct. You've got to see that you should address this as an opportunity. Leverage the elements of Jupiter in your life. If you have any gold ornaments, wear them during this week. This is a time where you should wear your confidence to the fullest. Wear it as your armor, because you will have an aura that is going to be pushing you towards success as well. The other bit that you will realize is that the world would be sort of watching you. The eyes will be on you. And therefore, being shaky in your confidence is not going to be the right element, even if you don't sense that immediately. There will be some sort of an information that might become crucial, that actually elevates your confidence level or self-belief for that matter. The second sign which will see a positive impact during this period is, my dear friends, Libras, Tula Rashi for that matter. Now, Jupiter in your case, Libras, is currently stationed in your ninth house. You guys are almost the luckiest sign for that matter. And Jupiter is going to be dialing its energies to the next level to alleviate any kind of challenges and bring you those blessings in disguise that you've been waiting for. That means your destiny, your luck, your grace, benediction from your superiors, higher form of grace, support from your father, maybe connection with somebody who's been a mentor, teacher, guide, an astrologer, anything of that sort might be coming into strong support or deep attraction in your life. The first and the foremost thing that you've got to understand is this is the time of miracle where a door is opening for you even when you would have not knocked for it. There could be situations where an unexpected intervention of any of these, from your bosses, from your superiors, from your mentors, some spiritual connection, a spiritual person in your life might knock the door. You might be meeting a guru or a mentor, or might get addressed to a new principle, a new thought process during this phase itself. And that can transform the trajectory of your life to begin with. The event that can also trigger is any kind of long distance travels, people who are pursuing higher education, especially in foreign lands, or people who are entangled in some sort of religious beliefs, in some sort of religious ceremonies or events. All those kind of events are going to bring those kind of opportunities of new connections in your life. Your visa related issues, your travel related issues that you've been anticipating for a long while, they might get resolved during this period as well. Somebody who's looking forward to publish a book, get into international conferences, talk about the new areas that they've been trying to push forward to, but have been facing some unexpected opposition, unseen opposition in that life, they might feel almost getting resolved automatically for you folks, Libras. The key message here is that you have to trust the process. You have to trust your interactions. You have to trust the connections that are coming in your life. If you feel that you are blocked, or if you continue to consciously block the connections as well, that is also going to be detrimental. The last or the third key sign which is going to see some sort of an impact is the Aquarius sign. Now guys, you are going to have some sort of a creative jackpot. You see, I'm talking about the trines here. We started with Gemini, then came the ninth placement of Libras, and the fifth house placement is that for Jupiter with Aquarius sign. And here what you see is that some sort of creative explosion, some sort of creative jackpot might be coming into picture for you folks. There is also a possibility that you might be able to eat or find the fruition of your past life punya. Whatever great deeds, good deeds that you've done in your past lives, some sort of an impact might be coming and bringing a karmic checkpoint for you. The bit is that I see that there could be some speculative gain, unexpected, sudden gains that might materialize for some of you during this period. The other bit that you have to understand is if you've been planning to conceive, if you've been looking forward to expand your family, there's a high chances that this is going to be the time you will find success in that direction. Maybe it could be an opportunity of a creative breakthrough for many of you, or it could be an joy in terms of education, in terms of certification, in terms of knowledge and public adulation coming in your life. The key events that you might have to also look out for is that Jupiter, especially for my female audience, is a representation of the male energy, the husband impact as well. And your soulmate connections, your connections with somebody that you truly feel bonded with, those possibilities might also come into picture. I've already called out for married people or couples who are trying to conceive. This is going to be a right window where your attempts to make that happen should come to fruition, or you will be seeing some positive development in those areas. Now, the important bit is in terms of advice that take calculated risks, because I've talked about speculative gains. I'm fearful that people might just take this from a transit reading perspective. You've got to understand any person can only prepare a general transit message, because I do not have the availability of your natal birth chart. So you've got to analyze those dashas as well. And therefore, I'm calling out that take calculative risks during this period. This is also going to be a time where your intuition might be almost like a psychic level or like an astrologer like me. So good period ahead, folks, for the air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. I see there are some positive shifts in your life coming into picture starting from Jan 10th. Now, since we've talked about the three signs that can expect some sort of a miracle, let's move towards the next three signs that have to be cautious during this period. And these are the signs which will find the placement of Jupiter in the Kendra, because the energy is at its highest opposition. You see, we talked about the trines first, and now we're getting into the Kendras, and therefore the first sign coming into picture is that of Sagittarius, Dhanu Rashi. Now you've got to understand that this is a period where the mirror effect of sorts for Sagittarius is going to be coming into picture. Jupiter happens to be your ruler, your Lagna Lord or your Rashi Lord if you're watching from Sagittarius moon sign perspective. And he is currently placed in your 7th house, which is the house of partnerships, business relationships. And he is sitting retrograded in its deepest retrogression there. What you will notice is that this is the point where an impact will come in the form of opposition for you folks, from the larger world, from your partner, from your spouse, from your current associates. And therefore, your life would sort of come face to face. I think that Nicolas Cage movie with John Travolta, Face Off, somehow I'm reminded of that poster here. But yeah, you can imagine that sort of a situation, guys. Sagittarius, because now you will find that there is an opposition of sorts which is coming into picture, and therefore old matters that were put on the carpet, that were buried somewhere, they are now going to come. They are going to be resurfaced in your marriage, in your partnership, in your relationships. And that can bring some source of trouble. Those issues can bother you during this period. The caution that I would want to call out here is that you might find that your spouse is acting extremely dominating this period. There is a possibility that your partner, the people that you are partnering in your projects, in your professional engagements, they could be carrying some sort of an ego with them. And ego will be driven based on knowledge, based on information, as if they know more than you or better than you. It's going to be a clash of philosophies that is going to come into play, a clash of principles of sorts, either with your spouse or with a larger network, the people that you are operating it, the partners with whom you are partnering. This is a time where you've got to listen before you speak. That is the key fix, because your Lagna Lord, your ruler, your Rashi Lord is currently retrograded, and he is demanding you to introspect. He is demanding you to internalize things, assimilate, analyze, and figure out what is the best for you before you start preaching your information, your philosophy, your principles to the other party. The second sign which is going to be impacted by this are Virgos. And for Virgos, it's going to be a period feeling like that of a career bubble. Because in your case, Jupiter is sitting in your 10th house of career, karma, profession, public adulation, and he is getting into retrogression there. Now, Jupiter in Kendra is not bad position, guys. But the usual impact that you see is that it is a decent placement, especially in the 10th house for expansion, for career growth. However, because he is retrograded and there is a sort of opposition energy coming into picture, this is a period, Virgos, where you run the risk of over promising and under delivering. This is a time where you might go ahead and try to, capture a pie bigger than that what you can chew, more than you can digest. And therefore, my message is cut your coat according to the cloth. Try and take workloads only what you can definitely deliver, because that miscommunication might probably come into picture. If there are situations where you are working with multiple people on projects, or if you have something which is resting on your shoulder, it is going to be important, it's going to be crucial for you to highlight the timelines. Your say do ratio must be addressed proactively. This is a time where you could feel overwhelmed with the expectations that are coming in from your bosses as well, because it's the retrograded impact coming towards your 9th house. And therefore, the fix is that do not get into commitments, do not get into new business or job related contracts that have not been read through. If the fine print has not been examined, if the requirements from your customers are not really clear, and you will still go ahead and commit to a certain budget, to a certain timeline, because that can be detrimental. You've got to be realistic about your timelines in your workspace, in your career. You've got to be realistic with what you are committing with your speech to the public, because that is how they are going to be measuring you and weighing you in this period. And third bit, last but not the least, is the sign of Pisces. And my Pisces friends, mean Rashi, you could be going through Sadesati as well. And if you're watching from ascendant perspective, well, what you are going to notice is, again, Jupiter happens to be your Lord, and he is currently placed in your 4th house. 4th house, which depicts your home, your mental peace, your connection with your mother, your motherland, your emotions. And therefore, the impact that you would feel is that suddenly you could start feeling claustrophobic in your home. You might feel as if you don't have enough space. You need to expand. You need to outgrow the status in which you are currently living. This is a period which will push you towards renovation, towards bringing in new furniture, towards adding something in terms of your property, in terms of your assets. And therefore, you've got to be careful with any kind of hasty decisions that you could be making during this period. This is a time where you will feel as if your energy is just too big for the current place that you are residing. Maybe you are not comfortable in that 2-bedroom, in that 3-bedroom apartment, and you want to expand. You want to have a backyard. You want to have a place for your kids to play. You want to have a room for yourself as a study, as your studio. And those kind of needs have to be carefully examined. This is also a period that might give you a feeling of restlessness. And that restlessness most probably is either going to be impacting you emotionally, or it is going to be because of your financial matters or your assets for that matter. Then the other bit is, because 4th house also denotes your mother, there could be a situation of disagreements coming in with your mother as well. So be cautious during this period from that perspective. Last but not the least, I would suggest a very simple fix. If you feel the urge of going beyond your means, then consider repivoting, re-articulating your home by shifting furniture, by changing, switching rooms, trying to do something within your house itself to make you feel better. Cleaning your house, getting things in order, structuring things within your house is also going to be a very good natural remedy for you to fix those situations. And it may not be a bad idea for yourself to find some space within your home. Create a location within your home where you don't feel claustrophobic, where you don't feel suffocated. That should be your zen area for that matter. And if you are able to do that, you will navigate through the negative impacts that could potentially come into picture. And these are the three signs that have to be cautious on those regards. Now, as we move further for the rest of the signs, it's going to be more of a mixed or a neutral period, so to speak. To get started, let's talk about Leos. In your case, Jupiter is placed in the 11th house for you. And retrograde position denotes that this is going to be a period that can bring some sort of bonus wins. There is a possibility that you might be able to find some gains. Unexpected gains could also come into picture. However, your friends, your social network, your larger circle is going to help you find some sort of financial input coming in your life. What you will have to be careful is that do not overdo any kind of socializing. You might also find that this could be the period, from Jan 10th till March 11th, where some of your efforts with your friends, especially if you've given them loans, if you are expecting some sort of a payback, may not exactly be happening in the right way. Therefore, be cautious in terms of not loaning out money. You can take loans and you will be able to repay them back for sure. The next bit is for Aries. Jupiter for you folks, guys, is sitting in the third house, and Jupiter's placement in the third is considered to be a Maran Karaka position as per Brihad Parashar Hora Shastra. And this position is giving an indication, Aries, that you could have a situation of overthinking, rethinking in your communication style. There could be a scenario where you will have to revisit the choice of words that you will have potentially made past in terms of your comments. And you might want to course correct yourself during this phase. This is going to be a great period for people to leverage any kind of book writing, publishing, starting something new with respect to social media, e-commerce related businesses, or more importantly, reviving a skill. It can be photography. It can be something that requires knowledge. And that is why I've picked a hobby that requires knowledge. I'm not talking about sports here. So Aries, you've got to visit in those areas. Then, my friends, Taurus, Jupiter in your case is sitting in your second house. And therefore, I see that money is definitely coming. But the challenge is that this is a retrograde movement of Jupiter, and it is like retrograde money. And therefore, you could find situations where you are finally getting repaid for the money that you had loaned to your family members, to your near and dear ones, to your friends for that matter. Any kind of tax refunds that you've forgotten, something that has been sitting there idle and you were not aware of it. It could be joint assets, it could be a will that might resurface. An old investment that you might have just completely forgotten. That lost old money seems to be getting recovered for you folks, Taurus. The next sign would be that of Cancer. Now for you guys, Jupiter is sitting in your 12th house. And this is indicating a very spiritual time for you. I anticipate Cancerians, you could be witnessing extremely vivid and detailed dreams during this period. This is a time where you could leverage your travels to faraway places. You can be involved in charitable activities. You could make certain donations. It's a time where you could be visiting temples as well, or places of worship with whatever religion that you follow. It's going to be a good period in terms of you getting satisfaction through these kind of investments, through these kind of involvements. The next sign for us will be that of Scorpio. Now, my Scorpio friends, Jupiter is sitting in your 8th house in retrograde motion. And this is a time where you will have to be careful of the fact that whilst on one side of the spectrum, Jupiter is promising some new form of wisdom, some new form of gain in terms of knowledge, research coming in your life. But at the same time, it can bring in interest into areas which are related to other eighth house affairs as well. Remember, eighth house denotes your sexuality, your secrets, your hidden affairs. Any kind of secret information also could be of crucial importance, and you will be discovering either a secret, or you could be figuring out a way, a secret mechanism to unlock wealth as well, because Jupiter is giving an aspect to its own sign in the second house. And then last but not the least, for my Capricorn friends, Jupiter is placed in your sixth house. I see this is a decent opportunity in terms of recovery from the health period. Any kind of chronic problems, any kind of health issues that you've been dealing with, you should find the right cure, the right medicine during this phase. It's also a great time for you to let go of any kind of financial struggles, repaying back the loans. If you've been feeling sick all this while, this is the time to call the right doctor and find that cure. If you've been able to arrange finances, or you will find areas to arrange finances to pay back for the loans that have been bothering you. Now, we will move towards the last segment of this video, where I want to touch upon some of the activities that you may want to pursue doing. Number one bit that I want to call out is step out. Let's be a little exploratory. Step out towards the east direction of your house, in your room, wherever you stay, and look out of the window, and you are going to find an unmistaken bright star, which is Jupiter for that matter. If you've not been able to figure that out, I recommend check out some of the mobile applications if you don't have a telescope and stuff, and share your experience. I would love my audience to see what they found and put that in the form of post or comments and share it with the rest of the community out here. That is one definitive thing that is coming into picture. The number two bit that I would want to call out is practice Jupiter Bij Mantra. And it is important that, especially for signs that are anticipating any kind of negative effects, where I've given cautions, for signs where you feel, or for people who have weak Jupiter in your natal birth chart as well, this is a time where if you chant the Bij mantra of Jupiter, it is going to give you a lot of positive energy. If you've liked this video, folks, I request you to please smash on that like button. Keep showering your love, your comments, your feedback. I look forward to learn from your inputs, do much better in the next video, and help me grow Dev Astrology. Thank you for watching. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev.